Welcome to Morecambe Bay. This is the UK's largest bay. It starts at Fleetwood and continues to Barrow-in-Furness. We have journeyed over the last few years from Knot End at the south of the bay all the way round to Barrow-in-Furness, stopping off at Ulverston, Grange-over-Sands, Arnside and Glasson. So here I am at Glasson today, and the tide is beginning to come in. In its heyday, this was a very busy industrial port with boats coming and going up to Lancaster, and once the dock was built at Glasson, they would stop at Glasson and the goods would connect to Lancaster and Preston via the Lancaster Canal. It's lovely to hear the birds singing and just to be able to stand for a moment and look for the trees. The water's in the background now, and just the gaps in the tree and the way the lights come through the tree. The trees are still in their winter state. There's a few little buds coming. It's just the beginning of March now. But the birds are definitely getting excited about the warmer day and the sunshine coming out. We're looking across the salt marshes back towards Glasson. And on the right hand side is Heaton Power Station, and beyond that Sunderland, known as Sunderland Point. Sunderland Point gets cut off from the mainland when the tide comes in. The tide comes in twice a day, every 11.5 hours. So this is a very dynamic and changing environment. I love the clouds and the colours, and when the sun comes out, the nice bright blues, and when the sun drops, it becomes grey and dull, and the grass colours change from olive green to vibrant greens. And the grass is beginning to grow again after the winter months. This is March, there's buds on the trees, but at the moment, very little has sprung back into life. This is a man-made landscape. The water's held back by banking. All along this coastline you've got sea defences that protect the land behind from the sea. A lot of the land is reclaimed from the sea, and there's a battle that goes on between farmers and the sea constantly to maintain the pasture lands and the feeding grounds for the sheep and other animals. I love the patterns that you see in the water and how the sky is reflected into the water as it ripples and moves. The coastline is mainly made up of salt marshes, and as the tide comes in, they get filled with water, making this a very dangerous place to be. However, the birds love it, and as their land reduces, they lift up and they fly in the sky. making this a lovely place, lots of textures, lots of things to look at. And the colours are always changing as the light changes. And I love the way as the tide comes in, the mossy greens of the seagrass change to lighter colours. In the distance you can see the hills, and on a good day you can see the lower fells of the Lake District. Although this continues to be an industrial area, people enjoy leisure activities. And today you can see there's a boat out on the water. The tide is almost in now, and the birds have very few places to actually land. When the tide's in, it makes things look very much closer than when the tide's out. And this is a problem for people because they think they can get to the other side very easily. But in reality, the currents are very strong and dangerous. And you need somebody to navigate you up the Lune towards Lancaster. This was one of the reasons that Glasson was built, that it was closer to the actual mouth of the River Lune and on the bay itself. So it made for a port for vessels to come into very easily. The tide has come right up now and the birds are being pushed right onto the coastline. I love the way that the ducks bob in the water. And this inspired my work. Very dark blues with ducks bobbing in the water. There's a stork or a heron just come in, I think it's a heron, and disturbed the birds along the coast. But at the moment they're still quite settled, they're not taking off or going anywhere. It's nice to hear them calling to each other. And enjoying bobbing around in the water. I love the reflections. Here we've got an egret who's feeding close to the shoreline. Wonderful reflections. There's all sorts of textures and lots of things that created inspiration for my work. And the ducks swimming. So again, these are the ducks that inspired my work, and just the way they bob around in the water and all the different colours of the waters, all the different blues and the reflections of the green and the land underneath, and the movement of the branches and the trees. It's all very, very special. This is the point where the canal comes into the dock basin. In its heyday, you would see 25 or 30 merchant ships quayed along the dockside. But today it is limited to holiday and leisure vehicles and some fishermen who still go out on the tides, but not many. Glasson is a small village and it's never really grown, even the days when the docks were very busy. It has a smokehouse which is well known for its smoked salmon and well worth a try if you're ever visiting here. I like this point because it's where you can see people's real homes, working homes, the working environment, the shipyard in the distance, and there's one to the side here that repairs canal barges. And you can hear the noise of airplanes in the sky. This is a busy airline route off the northwest of the UK, and flights go over to the Americas from here. So there's constant air traffic above us, which leads to many exciting patterns in the sky on a clear sunny day like today. And in the background you can hear the sound of engineering works and cars passing by. So although it's an environment for those who want to have leisure, it's also a working environment for those who live in and around the Glasson dock area.